Welcome to Wow Drama Stories, where you get all the drama from a safe distance. It's a one-story video today, and let's get right to it. Opie writes, I, 23 male, have two younger siblings, Anna, 21 female, and Chloe, 19 female. We've always been close. Our parents split up when I was 9, and our mom became pretty much a deadbeat. I've seen her maybe 5 times in the last 10 years. So my dad, 50 male, raised us, and it's pretty much always been us and him. Even after he started dating Fiona, 44 female, when I was 15, our dynamic stayed mostly the same, and there were pretty much no issues aside from some adjusting. Chloe recently moved out after living at home for her first year at college. And a few months later, my dad announced that he and Fiona were engaged and going to get married. In my opinion, everyone expected this would happen since they were together so long. But Anna was very upset. She's been complaining to everyone about it for weeks, but mostly me. She says it's like he was just waiting for us all to grow up and get out of the house so that he could move in his new woman and be a family with her instead. She also doesn't like that there's an almost 7-year age gap between them because he and our mom were high school sweethearts and our mom was actually a few months older. So she feels like our dad is replacing her with a younger model. Side note, she's never liked Fiona because she was still hoping my parents would get back together when he and Fiona started dating. Mom was less of a deadbeat then. Anna also thinks there isn't much passion between them because every time she was over at our place, they barely touched and just treated each other like polite acquaintances since we were kids. She also doesn't see why he has to move her in before they're even married, because Fiona is financially well off and doesn't need the stability. She wants to be able to spend this summer with just our dad and us, without anyone else moving in yet. She told me the other day that she's planning on trying to set him up with one of her friends' single mom instead, who she feels is much more age-appropriate and likable than Fiona, and whom she thinks he'd have much more chemistry with. She's planning on telling him this weekend and wants me to back her up. I lost my patience and told her to leave me out of this, and that she's ruining his life by trying to set him up on some blind date as if he's a child. She started crying and told me all she wants is what's best for him because Fiona's the wrong woman and he's making a mistake. But I said I don't see how this would help when he's already engaged and that she's being stupid. She called me an a-hole for being so harsh and hasn't talked to me since then. I admit, part of me is also bummed that we won't have so much of my dad's time anymore and that things are about to change dramatically. So I wonder if I should have been more validating or supportive of Anna. But I just don't think our dad did anything wrong or that talking him out of this will do any good. Am I the a-hole? Edit. The main reason I'm second-guessing myself is because I too would love another summer with just our dad. But I have my own place now, so it's not like I have nowhere to go if things get unbearable with Fiona here. I don't think it will. She's always let us kids do our own thing. So it's not that big a deal to me. I also do see where Anna's coming from about him and Fiona not being very romantic in front of us. Our parents were very much touchy-feely. I don't know if this means she's the wrong woman or not, but to be honest, since my dad doesn't seem to care, I don't either. I don't see her as another parent or anything, but we've personally never had a problem with each other. And I don't think Chloe does either. I do agree my dad deserves to whatever he wants to be happy at this point. Wow, okay, Opie, I do not think you are the a-hole, but let me just address the thing about the affection between your father and Fiona. I kind of think they're holding back in front of you kids because they don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So I wouldn't read too much into that at all. But the main issue here is that Anna still has some unresolved issues that she needs to work through. I don't think this even has anything to do with Fiona, and Anna would have had a problem with any woman, really. And the age gap, 6 years, almost 7 years. Fiona's 44, your dad 50. Come on, that's nothing, really. It isn't. Not at that age. But the number one thing here, Opie, is that your father is happy. He seems to have put his life on hold for you kids before moving Fiona in, getting engaged and planning their wedding. It's about time your dad focused on his happiness, and you have to really support him in that, Opie. Let's get some comments, hear what other people have to say about this, and that'll be followed by a lengthy update from Opie. Someone comments, "Not the a-hole. Anna needs to move on from this or get therapy. It's not her place to be a matchmaker for your father, even if she doesn't like her. Your father is an adult who doesn't need someone to ruin his relationship just because they don't like her." To this, Opie replies, "My dad did put us in therapy when our parents first split up. And then again, when my mom became much worse in her absentee ways. So I'm not sure how much more needs to happen for her to just let this thing with my dad go." And to another comment, Opie replies, "I definitely don't ever want him to get back with our mom. To be honest, I'd much rather have a relationship with Fiona over her at this point. I know my dad will be really hurt when he finds out about this blind date. So I don't know if I should warn him beforehand or not. I just feel guilty all around now for keeping it a secret or potentially telling him before Anna brings it up. I'd try to talk her out of it, but she still isn't talking to me." Someone else comments, "Not the a-hole. Furthermore, it should be asked if the sister's okay if dad decided to arrange marriage for her or control her love life, and if the answer is no, then sis needs to back off and stop being a control freak. The dad sounds like he's literally put his entire life on hold, which he didn't have to do, in order to focus on being a father for his children. And now he wants to focus on himself and totally deserves it." Someone else comments, "Not the a-hole. Does your sister not realize how selfless your dad was for you both? He has been with Fiona for 8 years and probably has wanted to marry her for quite a while. But he put his children's needs first, not wanted to put them through more upheaval with the change in living dynamic. For what we see here, he should get a medal, and instead his daughter is insulting and undermining his relationship. Shame on your sister for thinking she knows who's better for him. She should let him be happy on his own terms with who he loves. For your sister to do this is to insult your dad and everything he's done for her. Do not encourage or support this behavior. She is going to blow up her relationship with her dad. Don't get sucked in and ruin your relationship too." And here's Opie's update. Thanks to everyone who shared all the advice. A lot's gone down, so I thought I should update. I tried talking to Anna once more about not doing this blind date thing, but she refused. So, as folks suggested, I went and told my dad I had to warn him about something. Here's where I maybe messed up a bit. Fiona was there, and maybe I should have said it privately, but there was no time. He asked what was wrong, and I just couldn't get the words out. So I said it's about the engagement, and that it was best he heard it from Anna. Well, of course he went to her room to get her. We all sat in the living room. Chloe was already watching TV there. And after some coaxing from him, she just exploded and started crying it wasn't fair. Things were happening too fast. He just decided to get engaged without even consulting us, and we were just supposed to go along with it like we're still children. She said we never consented to our mom leaving us and had no say in them getting back together, so that we should have at least had a say in who he started dating next. Please note, this isn't what I personally feel. Anyway, my dad just looked shell-shocked. Seeing his face made me feel god-awful. He looked silently at Fiona. She suddenly burst into tears. This scared me because I've never seen her cry. My dad's rarely weepy, and I've never seen him cry more. Dad held her hand, and she just kept sobbing. I told you, I told you. I felt worse. One nice thing was Chloe got emotional to see this, so she actually went over and gave Fiona a hug. I felt like doing it too, but thought it'd be weird. My dad hugged Anna and said he was sorry he never realized how she felt. He said it's too late to set him up with anyone. I managed to have Anna add this. If he was going to be with anyone, it would be Fiona. But if this engagement was really hurting her, the two of them would talk about whether it can be postponed. He did say it's a done deal she's moving in this summer though, since she already ended her lease and made arrangements. Long story short, he arranged family therapy. Fiona actually suggested it and said she was willing to participate if it would help. I don't think I need therapy, but I think I'm going to do it just to help. Chloe agreed, and Anna hasn't said anything since this happened, but I think that's a sign she's accepted it. Things were okay for the rest of the evening. Thank God no blind date. Dad asked if I was okay and thanked me for doing this. He said he was proud of me. I teared up, LOL. He and Fiona sat on the porch for the rest of the night with his arm around her. I'm honestly relieved. Things have been calm since then. Anna's still quiet, but at least she's not avoiding us or objected to therapy. The first one starts early July and he's booked it for just us four for now. Thanks for all the support, everyone. I'm really hopeful things will get better from now on. Edit. While it's true my dad never asked us for permission to date Fiona, I remember him saying many times that he was starting a relationship and that his biggest hope was for us to be okay with it, and if not, he'd do whatever it took to help us get there. We weren't necessarily thrilled, but I know none of us objected. Though maybe Anna just didn't think it would stick, I don't know. I also don't think they should have to postpone the marriage, but if that's what everyone sees fit to do, I won't object. Edit 2. Just want to clarify, my dad and Fiona are still engaged. No one's called off or postponed the marriage yet, which I'm glad about. Postponing was just something my dad suggested in order to take more time to help Anna if it was needed. But they're definitely still getting married, and he made it clear he'd never marry anyone but her. I did make it clear during the whole confrontation that these were just Anna's thoughts, and I don't share them. Opie, well done talking to your dad, getting all of this out in the open. It really was the best thing to do. And Opie, having read your posts and your comments, there's really no doubt in my mind that you have a fantastic father with a very special woman at his side. And I really hope everything works out for your whole family. Let's get some comments about your update. Someone comments, poor Fiona, poor Fiona. She deserves so much better. They shouldn't delay their wedding for a spoiled brat. The fact your father is doing this is a massive red flag for Fiona. She'll have to deal with your sister's mistreatment her whole life. This makes me want to cry for her. As a stepmom, thanks for being decent to Fiona and please continue to support her. There's nothing worse than trying to do your best for your spouse's kids and then having them treat you cruelly. Let's get 2 more comments. Someone writes, "This update makes me sad. Sad for Fiona, sad for your dad. He doesn't need the permission of his adult children to date." It's absolutely ridiculous that your full-on adult sister is acting like a 10-year-old. They have waited 8 years. They have taken it slow. Quit coddling her and tell her to grow the hell up. Your father is a human. He deserves to have a wonderful adult relationship, and he sure as heck doesn't need your approval. It's none of your actual business at this point. I'm just flabbergasted that a 21-year-old is somehow under the impression that she has a say. Poor Fiona, seriously. She sounds like a damn saint. Your dad tried to do things at your all's pace, and it's been 8 years. He is allowed to have a life outside his kids. He always has been allowed. And a final comment with a reply from OP. "Hey kiddo, you did a great job, and I'm sure that was hard as hell. If you want to add a little private happy for Dad and Fiona and actually feel this way, why not privately tell them that you think they are great together or the like? I bet it would ease both their minds with the moving coming up, but only if you feel that way, okay?" To this OP replies, "Thanks very much for saying this. Dealing with it has been really overwhelming, especially since I didn't want to get involved with her dumb scheme in the first place. And I'm trying to be fair to everyone. I love my dad and don't want him to lose Fiona because of this." OP, I think everything is going to work out. The important thing is that you are now talking about it as a family. Everything is out in the open, and that's the way you solve problems. That's it for this installment of Wow Drama Stories. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Until next time, wishing you a drama-free life.